you feel so close to that coveted, sought after reality where you have finally linked and integrated your soul and your ego to where now you feel more vibrant and excited about the world all over again. If you're just almost about there and you're feeling close, hopefully this will kind of help push you along a little farther. Part of what allows us to get to this place is done by a few things. The first thing I would highly recommend is a planned out vision board as to what that looks like. And the way I go about it is I call it the 3-6-1 principle. 3 years, 6 months, daily, or 1 day. Set out a 3-year vision as to what you, when you're fully whole, looks like. It'll be hard to pinpoint what you'd be doing, but you want to really go after the experience. What would it feel like? What would it look like? What environment would you be in? How would you be feeling? You'd be as vivid as possible, as vivid as you can to really immerse yourself in that experience. Then you have the 6 months. The 6 months are your broken up chunks of time so that you can actually move yourself towards this vision. And in that 6 months, you can give yourself a couple targets that you wish. Nothing too hard pressed, nothing too solid. A little bit more loose and relaxed. Perhaps your 6-month target could be, I want to have a healthier relationship with my emotions. It could be, I want to move closer towards understanding my inner world, the demons that I live with. It could be anything you want in relation to the 3 years. And then you have the most important section, which is your daily. What are the daily practices you're going to be doing that are going to move you closer towards that? And move you towards the 6-month target, which will in turn move you towards that 3-year vision for yourself. And it's in this daily practice that you're going to be in and you want to exist in. Too much outcome focus changes and warps your experience, fills you with stress and anxiety and anticipation. You want to be as present as possible while also considering the vision you built out for yourself. The process before we also even go into this is a practice I call being a nobody. What do I mean by being a nobody? For most of our lives, we have taken in expectations and standards as to how we should be, what we should pursue, how we should behave and communicate. So there's a lot of this programming going around, which is, it has its utility, it has its good, but it tends to skew bad as of late. Creates a lot of discomfort and pain. And the art of being a nobody is for a temporary period of time. You let go of everything. Who you're supposed to be, who you think you're supposed to be. Drop everything. Take off the mask. Take off the performer. And tap into more of the child self that exists within you. You can look back into your own memories and find what were you doing at those times that brought you that spirit of vitality and life. What made you do that? For me, it was playing outside and running around and playing with sticks and seeing ant holes and seeing the ants sort of do their own thing and immersing and giving them personalities. I was an only child, so I had to have a little more imagination when I was interacting with the world. But it could be anything you wish. It could be anything that you did. Experiencing that, bringing it forward, being more immersed in that world. Along the way, though, in that inner journey, you're going to come across pains, certain traumas and challenges that we want to avoid, we want to not pay attention to. And it is absolutely vital that for the final steps, you have to understand those elements as much as possible. Those would be done earlier on, of course. When you first begin the journey of integration and integrating the soul and ego, there's gonna be obviously elements you have to acknowledge already. But on that tail end, you want to make sure that you've seen as much of you as possible. Because what you first see may be very insightful, but as you meditate on it, you will start to see how much it webs with everything else in your life, every aspect of your thoughts, how they all coalesce and work together. And it's by acknowledging and seeing them, making peace with them, knowing the tragedy of what it brought to your life, but also simultaneously seeing the elements that brought good. That maybe it allowed you to move on with certain things. Maybe it gave you the strength to be kind to somebody who's in distress, maybe in a similar distress that you resonate with, that you've experienced. Seeing it holistically and understanding that it's with these two worlds, the outer world and the inner world, working together in a beautiful, harmonious way, that you can finally hit that point. Now, the funny thing is, there is no real pinpoint. There really is no final destination. It is a continual process of development. But you will feel pretty darn close. You'll feel pretty darn close. You will start to notice things that you once really valued, you just don't care anymore. And if you don't mind, I'll quickly share a story about that. When I was 17, I decided to pursue jiu-jitsu full-time. I wanted to be a competitor. I wanted to be a world champion. And it was something that I devoted my whole life to. Now, I'm a black belt now, so I did complete the whole process. But at the time when I started, it was everything to me. Wanted to be unstoppable, unbeatable. And so I was training twice a day, Monday to Friday, and then also did a Saturday session as well. And I did that for years alongside personal training and nutrition. It was everything to me. And I won provincials. I won provincial titles. I took third place with Team Canada when we went to the World Championships, and a whole host of local tournaments in between. And I had amassed myself a pretty good record. But there was always pain along the way. There was always something in me that wasn't feeling right. And it was in the tail end of that experience that all of a sudden, a couple months went by, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. But it wasn't a liberating, I don't want to do this anymore. It was catastrophic for me. I had no idea who I was anymore. And it was through that period wandering in the desert, completely confused, that eventually I developed the method that I use now to coach people, the Rule of Three method. But along the way, I started to discover a few things. Number one, I wanted to be a world champion, not fully because I truly in my soul wanted to be. I wanted to be a world champion because I've had unworthiness issues growing up. Those were challenges of mine. And I had to prove myself all the time. I was also bullied heavily as a kid, and so there was elements of me that wanted to find ways to simultaneously also get revenge. The people I competed with symbolized, they were archetypal. They represented projections of bullies to me, even though they weren't. You know, they could be nice, great people. But that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like to me. And at some point when I said, I've been doing this, not fully because I want to, but because of what I think it'll bring me. It'll bring me admiration, it'll bring me respect, and a belonging to something. Which is why anytime I won something, I won gold, it felt great. But it quickly vanished. And I had to satiate again because I felt if I didn't, it'll all disappear. People will forget who I am. So the point of the story is that it's only upon reflection that you will start to gain some strong insight as to why you were doing what you're doing and why was it that a particular dream of yours faded away. Or maybe something, God or the universe, forced its hand and said, this is not the direction for you to go. And it's frustrating. It is. It is frustrating. It gets you angry. You invested so much time. You feel as if you wasted it, but you didn't. You did not waste it. The times I had when I was training and doing all these things, it brought about discipline, consistency, the understanding and the value of work, putting in the effort, taking care of your teammates because they also help elevate you as well. That was part of that pain. And it was in understanding that pain and knowing that it wasn't just all miserable. No, it brought about strong aspects that I carry with me now into this, into what I'm doing with you. And in those final moments, when you make peace and you understand that it's okay that it didn't work out, and it's okay that I was being this performer for a little while because I had to. It was what made me feel like I was healing. That's okay. Totally okay. It is in that acknowledgement that you can actually shed it off. Or you can change the story. Reimagine the story for yourself. What are you going to do now? Where are you going to go now? And it's truly a beautiful place to be. So this being a nobody allows you to suspend all of that. Because sometimes we get so personified in what we're doing, it's very difficult to separate. And so I recommend the combination of being a nobody and journaling. Write down what that feels like day by day. How did you feel? And by that I mean being a human being. As genuine as possible. Were you angry? Were you frustrated? Were you happy? What got you happy? How simple things excited you? What simple things made you excited? How did it bring you to a place of humility again? And you journal it and you write it out, because it also taking it outside your mind and laying it on paper is a wonderful way to, again, separate yourself from it a little bit. And during this time, you will begin to notice some sense of understanding. If you're being honest with yourself, and if you're also investigating the sides of you in the inner world, in the inner mind, that you want to avoid. But if you can find that courage to do it, which you have the courage. You're going to feel fear, which is natural, it should be. But on the other side, you will feel this lift of weight, this pressure coming off. Not life's pressure. There's always going to be life's pressure. But the pressure you impose on yourself will feel lighter. So journal, write it out, experience what feel what you're experiencing. And then along the way, all of a sudden, when you integrate it with the 3-6-1 principle, things will start to make sense. You'll start to harmonize. Having a healthy integration with your emotions, understanding the range of your emotions, understanding the shadow side of your mind, on the areas you want to avoid. Having a healthy ego, not an inflated ego, a healthy, strong one that doesn't exaggerate what it does, doesn't need to do that to make itself feel good, that knows what it can do and is humble about it, that wants to share with others so that they also avoid the pitfall instead of taking pleasure in someone else's pitfalls. You are almost there. You're just about there. So you just keep consistent. And during that time, life might hit you real hard to test if you're really able to. Perfectly natural. Go with it. Move towards it. Embrace it. Have fun along the way. Enjoy the ride. Because it is with having fun that is of the child self. Learn to enjoy. Don't be so serious about it. Self-discovery is play. You have to play. If you want more deeper insight on this topic and you want to be a part of a community that is rebuilding purpose in their life and wanted to rediscover their true identity from a lost dream, a dream that got taken from them or just didn't work out for you, I have a link down below to send you over to my page. You sign up to my free newsletter. I'll send you over my 3-step to rebuilding identity guide just as a free gift for being part of the community. It was something that I've always wanted to be a part of when I was going through my time, but I couldn't find the right environment for me. So if this resonated with you, I really hope that you join and be a part of it, and we can move towards helping you be the most authentic self you can be, to rebuild your purpose, to actually move in a direction that brings you lasting, consistent fulfillment.